Good afternoon from Houston, Texas. My name is John Ting. Welcome to Green Card Guys TV, and I'm here to solve your immigration problems and answer any questions you may have. Now, if you don't mind, if you are joining again, welcome again. Please, if you know anyone else that's interested in information like this, please go ahead and bookmark the video so you can share with folks, your friends and family. We found that folks that we help, our clients, they usually have someone else that has a similar type of, or even any other kind of question, but it's immigration related. So just think of us as all things immigration. Um, Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of problems out there, and that's today's topic is one of the most common problems that people get themselves into now, and that I want to help you avoid in the first place. And even if you are currently in this situation, well, here's the topic. Should I avoid fake marriage for a green card? Uh, it might be obvious, but my answer is absolutely you should avoid it. And not to make you feel bad or anything. I understand people like yourself. You might be thinking, look, I just need some way to get immigration status here in America. I've actually been here. Maybe you've been here for so many years. And you're thinking, I've tried other ways. You've talked to many immigration lawyers. Of, for some reason, uh, maybe the fifth or 20th lawyer you speak with might have a different solution that's actually viable, that's legally you'd be eligible for. For some people, you might need to apply for a waiver. For others, you might need to apply for a waiver and go back to your country of nationality or third country for something we call consular processing for the interview abroad. So I know people are looking for so many different ways. But I know ultimately a lot of people want to just try to get the green card while you are in the US. So here's the deal. Okay, I'm going straight to it. If you are in a fake marriage, or you might be thinking, well, the marriage is legit on paper, but emotionally, you're not connected. You don't really know much about each other on that kind of level. Maybe it's um, maybe it's like your friend, an old friend. Maybe you're just reconnecting, but still not emotionally connected. I know it's kind of strange because USCIS doesn't ask for documents about emotional relations. Of course they don't. They really focus on, like, aside from the marriage certificate, they really focus on financial joint shared accounts. But even though you a lot of our clients know this, they kind of hesitate. Even if they are emotionally connected, they kind of hesitate when they talk about money. I'm like, yo, you guys gotta get you guys got to get with the program here, okay? You know, I hear and see that you're in a legitimate marriage, a genuine marriage, okay? Immigration law in America, we use the phrase called bona fide, okay? So that's related to documents at the end of the day. But it's a combination because right now USCIS is waiving interviews for adjustment of status. Not for everyone, okay? And just because you have a lawyer doesn't mean they're going to waive the interview. But we believe because of our proven checklist, and sure, maybe other lawyers have their own proven checklist, but because of our proven checklist, in the last 3 months, we've had more cases waived for the interview and got straight to approval than my entire career. And that's because this is a new thing. The policy has always existed, but it is a totally new thing that the Biden administration, even if you want to give President Biden a hard time about so many other things, we can give any president a hard time on things related to immigration. But look, President Biden's Department of Homeland Security, with specifically USCIS, for this topic, is helping you. Don't make it difficult for yourself. Don't just provide a marriage certificate, which yeah, and even if you provide a lot of evidence, it has to make sense. But you want to file a case with the assumption that an interview could still happen. So that's why I had to bring up a topic like this, because some people might think, ooh, USCIS is waiving interviews. Can I just file a fake case? I'm just anticipating what people are thinking. And if you know me by now, you've been following our channel, you know every once in a while, at least once a month, I try to talk about these fake marriage cases because I hear of so many negative stories. And I'll just put it out there, okay, that the red flag here, or the significant consequences, that if USCIS finds, and when I say finding, is like on paper, on the decision, and they say that you have, USCIS has determined that you entered into this marriage for fraudulent reasons, aka for immigration benefit. And they don't put this last part. They don't put the part about like, oh, that you're not emotionally connected. No, not like that. But how they get to that part is the interview. Okay. So that's why it's surprising to many lawyers that, I love, hey, I love it that, hey, they're waiving interviews. But honestly, I'm surprised that USCIS is actually waiving a lot more cases. Maybe, but still, maybe it's because of I believe it's because of our proven checklist and how we put all the cases together to make it under, understandable, okay, approvable for USCIS officers. And we're telling the truth. There's nothing that we don't lie about anything. Hey, what appreciate the hearts. If you can smash out hearts, if you appreciate the value you receive from this channel, you could click the like button on YouTube and Facebook, and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. As you might know, we do share tips and tricks and help you avoid red flags as much as possible, so you don't have to suffer any consequences and get your legal status approved as soon as possible. Okay, we just help people avoid any problems. So, the topic of the day, should I avoid fake marriages for a green card? Absolutely, you should avoid it. And this is what I was trying to get to. Because if there's a determination on paper that you have entered into a fake marriage for immigration benefit for a green card, USCIS is going to keep asking you about this fake marriage, even if you get divorced from this person, get married to another person, and that happens to be a legitimate, genuine marriage, bona fide marriage, and you maybe even have a kid with that person. And you're like, I have a kid. I should be approved. I'm sorry, folks. Having a kid is not your ticket to a green card. Even though I know, I get it, on the RFEs or request for evidence, if you don't provide enough evidence, they do happen to ask, well, do you have any children together? I mean, obviously, we would provide a birth certificate if we had children together, but maybe they ask for a reason. Maybe some people don't want to share that they have kids together. I don't know why. But I would suspect if you're in a fake marriage, you're probably not going to have a kid together. So, and even if you were to go through adoption type pathway to have a kid, I heard that takes a long time. That takes a heck of a long time. It's not easy. You have to go through a lot of interview process, things like that. Of course, you got to make sure you're a legit parent. You're the right fit for that kid. So at least I would hope so. That's the reason. So what am I trying to tell you, folks? Don't think it's going to be easy, okay? Because we even if you think you have all the documentation for a fake marriage, it's really not worth it for the reason I just mentioned. Because they're going to keep asking about that fake marriage. They're going to ask for those documents, the bona fide documents. And even if your buddy from like 20 years ago, you're just buddy, your best friends forever, the last 20 years, says, you know what, I feel bad for you, buddy. Let me help you out with a green card. Don't fall for the trick. And look, I'm not even talking about money here. If they don't even ask you for money, that's a whole other thing. That should be an obvious thing to not enter into fake marriage for that reason. But of course, that would definitely make everything worse. But because they'll start to try to blackmail you, things like that. These are not things I make up. These are stories that people call in with. So this is why I'm sharing this with you, to help you prevent from even thinking about this. Okay. You would be surprised how many people ask about this. It's not an everyday thing, but I've seen the FBI go after attorneys about things like this as well. So you really just want to be careful. And if you are still intent to do this fake marriage thing, don't get an attorney involved. Don't try to trick them. It's not worth it for their careers. Okay, just for your one case, don't do that to people. We work hard to get our license, so don't try not to entice attorneys to do this. Do it on your own if you're really going to do it. Don't get us involved. But if I can stop you from even doing it, I feel better about myself in that sense that I help you avoid a huge problem. There is no waiver for this. That would be great if the US government and Congress comes up together with a waiver for this, but I don't think they're not in the business to try and make your life easier, clearly, let alone about the lack of immigration reform for the that we've been all waiting for 20 plus years. So we're just trying to share real information here. Do not get yourself involved with a fake marriage. Even if you're watching and you're a US citizen or a resident and you just thought, oh, maybe I can help my buddy and get married with that person and help them, then you're not even asking for any money. At the end of the day, you're not emotionally connected. And here's why the emotional connection makes sense, okay? Is that you have to assume that USCIS is not going to continue waiving interviews. It could change at any moment. It could change at any day. So of course, right now we're telling folks if you call in, it is best to file your case ASAP. Okay, of course, with the evidence necessary using our proven checklist. Now, here's the deal. That's why you should not wait. The other reason you should not wait is because USCIS fees are increasing. Now, again, of course, if you're not, you know, let's say you can't file now because you're not married at all, you don't have a significant other ready to sponsor you or whatnot, you can do a little encouragement on that then. But if you're one of those folks who are thinking about a fake marriage, it's not worth it. Yeah, because some people ask about the 204C finding, that's finding of marriage fraud. Some people who are actually in legitimate bona fide marriages still get this finding. So, by the way, if you're in a bona fide real marriage and you get this finding of marriage fraud on your denial notice, you need to appeal it. Okay. Your deadline is 30 days after your decision date. And no, do not contact a lawyer last second. Don't play around with it. That's reason why lawyers charge more, because most people wait last second for things to get done. Don't sit on your hands for stuff like this. Your legal status is on a bind, okay? And don't think that, sure. You might think USCIS may approve your case, your like future case, because you can file a petition, I-130 family petition, because they want your money. As you may have seen in the news, Congress does not fund USCIS. Congress does not give money to support USCIS. It's completely dependent on your money, your fees, the government fees. You provide them the money to survive. It's kind of strange why the government does that completely in that sense. So yeah, absolutely, they'll accept your petition, but accepting the petition is not approving the petition. Okay. And even if they approve the petition after you had a fake marriage and got out of it and got that case denied, they will deny your 485 application, because a petition I-130 is just to make sure that you have, if you did get married before, that you legally got divorced and that you remarried properly, essentially legally. So those are the kind of things I look at for the petition. The 485 is really what you need to be concerned about. So you might be USCIS might be stringing you along on this fake marriage situation, this pathway. You think, oh yeah, all is gravy. We're almost there. No, you're going to get denied. USCIS officers are trained to detect lies. They're basically a lie detector. I would like to think, based on my career progression, that I've learned a pretty good sense of who's lying and who's not. And when I did detect one, I was totally right. We fired that client ASAP. Okay. So you just have to understand not to play around with this stuff, because the lawyers I know and our team, we don't play around with this. We want to avoid problems for you. Okay. So hopefully that helps. I kind of went on a long diet monologue there, so hopefully you guys get it now. Sorry, kind of a side rant in a way because man, y'all been living here for so long, and then you might just derail your own legal status, ability to get legal status because you got enticed with a fake marriage. Just don't do it. If you need another peace of mind thought, I mean, you can message us. I'll talk to you personally to say don't do it. But anyways, yeah, this is all the cases that we see about this topic. So again, the topic is should I avoid fake marriage for green card or not? If you didn't get that topic already, so if you're new to the channel, welcome to Green Card Guys TV, where we try to help you solve your immigration problems or even prevent it from happening in the first place, like this one. So another tip about fake marriages: if you are in one right now and you already filed the application, you still need to speak with a lawyer, but it might be a good idea to consider withdrawing that application so they don't make USCIS doesn't make that negative decision. Okay, the finding of marriage fraud. So that's just something to think about because some people think, oh, I'm stuck. I already filed it. I already paid the government fees. So let me just stick it through and just keep going. Okay, let me just move on with that before I say a joke. Okay, so good morning, Anu. Nice to see you, Wes. Your question. Thanks for your other comment the other day, I think yesterday, one of my team members told me about it. Happy to help others. You said your son sponsored you. Why they sent me interview for your green card. So that does happen. Okay, I know I'm talking about spouse marriages right now, cases, but yes, Wes, they do. USCIS does allow from time to time waive interviews for um, adult children applying for a parent, but it doesn't happen all the time. Okay. So I know it's weird because right now, currently, they're waiving interviews for marriages. Why are they forcing you to have an interview? Who knows? It could have to do about your past if you have one in terms of entries and exits and things like that. So you're welcome to contact us. Maybe you have already, but we can take a look and look at your history in that sense and see if there's a way we can guide you. And folks, sometimes we're able to guide you without legally representing you in that sense. But of course, if there's a way we can represent you and just guide you all the way to legal status, we're happy to do that. Oh, and Wes, one more thing about that. Yeah, on the interview notice, it sounds like you got one already, which congratulations. At least they're, to some extent, at least they're processing your case. Okay, you're moving forward. I try to think of the silver lining, something positive. Marlon, blessings to you. Thanks for joining again. You said, is USCIS still backlog as it relates to I-130 for consular processing? Absolutely, they're freaking backlog. So that's why this an interview waiver for those who are in the United States is amazing. And so now, like I just had a consultation, a follow-up consultation before the show, and we're just talking about different options, different strategies. Because if there's a way we can avoid the consular processing, let's do it. And for example, that person owns a business, so they can do maybe like an E2 visa. So even though they call it investor visa, it's really about your business. At the end of the day, you can start a business. So for those can afford that, of course, but that's just one option. Or L visa, if you work for someone else for at least 1 year and they want to open an office in America. So that's a short version. But yeah, Marlon, they are backlogged. They take longer. I don't know why. You would think they would just apply the same concept to I-130s across the board, but they don't. Mm-hmm. And by the way, speaking of I-130, if you have an I-130 that you filed for a family preference category, especially for siblings, they will take longer. And actually, because of the way the CSPA age calculation is, the Child Status Protection Act, you actually want the petition to take longer. I know it's strange, but the longer the petition takes, it protects the age more. Even if your like siblings' kid, so I guess your niece or nephew are closer to age 21, it will protect them more if your petition's pending. It's just kind of backwards, but I think I understand why. I think they're trying to say, look, if the USCIS is freaking slow, we're gonna give you a little benefit on the back end, which they should just do that across the board. It's pretty ridiculous. I'll complain more about that a different day. But okay, Garen Gargantina. Sorry if I mispronounced your YouTube name. You said, can USCIS deny an N-400 if they determine that someone had immigrant intent at the moment of applying for non-immigrant visa? Someone had immigrant intent. Do they check DOS often for N-400? Um, they To answer your last question first, yes, I do check the DOS. Okay, they definitely do that. Now, I'll share a different example later if I can. Um, let's see. I told my team member I was going to be on. Um, okay, just making sure that I was on standby for one of my attorneys, just making sure they don't need me. Okay, we're good. Okay, do they check DOS? I think what you mean is that DOS means Department of State, so the DS 160, because that's the non-immigrant visa application. In general, they do check that. They more often check that when you apply for your residency. Um, but they have from time to time at least proactively mentioned it. Do they go into full detail? What I think really happens is that they go to like a cursory review, and if anything comes up that they think could be a red flag, they will bring it up. I even had a what was it? Well, yeah, 751 interview. Okay, it was for remove conditions, and we actually had the N-400 interview at the same time because they were so freaking slow to approve the 751 application. So I remember the officer asked, how what school did you come, in that F1 visa? What school? This is a marriage case. How long were you there? When did your visa expire? So they might even if they don't necessarily know for sure there's a red flag, but they kind of get maybe there's an indication something wrong was done, which my client didn't do anything wrong, but what they're doing. These officers are trying to fish for information. Lawyers in the legal industry would call it a fishing expedition. Okay, so that's why. I mean, just for that question alone, that's why it's a good thing to have a lawyer at the interview with you, so we can basically stop or try to stop USCIS officer from asking these silly questions. I'm sorry, when I say silly, I mean not relevant to the application. Um, no, well, N-400, but to overall answer your question, N-400 is what's it called? So the intent comes more into play as a red flag when it's about residency, when you apply for residency, okay, for resident status. But N-400 is more about good moral character. So, which also means like, do you have any criminal history? Actually, about paying your taxes as a resident. Is there any back taxes? Which back taxes is completely fine. You just need an agreement on paper with IRS that you have a plan to pay it off. So, um, and of course, any other misrepresentation. So, on that sense, Gargantina, if you didn't actually misrepresent anything, then that will not come into play. It should not come into play. Okay, but they could even ask you things that's not on the N-400 applications. Just as I mentioned, a fishing expedition. So, but I've heard of that, and that's why it's better to have a lawyer at the interview. So they're not waiving interviews for the N-400 for when people want to apply to become a citizen. We've been talking about is waiving interviews for the green card for residency. Okay. So Gargantina, it sounds like you need to speak with a lawyer because it sounds like you have something you want to share with an attorney to make sure that there's no problem for you. Okay. Okay. So let's see here. Looks like I forgot I have some meetings I need to attend with my team. And okay, I have any questions on Instagram? You guys are shy on Instagram today. Which, by the way, if you have TikTok, what do y'all think about TikTok? Did y'all hear about the CEO from TikTok? What his action plan for the public? I wonder what y'all think about TikTok. Maybe I shouldn't say this because I'm on Instagram. It's obviously heard about some wrongdoing by Meta's CEO. He might kick me off this platform, but whatever. freedom of speech is very important. So I would think that's, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, just to live your life in America, with freedom, just to do anything. Um, yeah, it's a witch hunt. I agree. We have a lot of freedom in America. We're very fortunate. But when it comes to freedom, I always joke with some clients, are you ready to work and pay taxes? Because we got to work to pay out the taxes. And so that's the cost of freedom. Um, and I think most of us know the risk of private lack of privacy on these platforms. To me personally, I don't mind. For me, for the company, for the law firm, because I'm sharing what I hope useful information for y'all, that you can take and do yourself, or you contact another lawyer to help you. Um, but we would be, of course, our pleasure to assist you. But yeah, I think it's a witch hunt. I mean, one Texas representative, I'll end soon. I'm sorry if you guys don't want to hear about TikTok, but um, well, yeah, one Texas representative, aside from the Wi-Fi thing, he called it Tic Tac. So I don't know if they was doing that crap on purpose, but yeah, that's definitely some disrespect for TikTokers. And just generally, there's a lot of people who are just in general, whether you're disabled or you normally could not work outside your home or didn't normally have a traditional job, like you're able to get income, get money through a TikTok platform. So yeah, I guess Meta is trying to figure out how to be like TikTok. But well, wait, no, wait. Instead of trying to figure out how to be more, proper for the public, I guess you could say, and prioritize security for kids, teenagers, they just want to try to knock out TikTok, like literally ban them, which is pretty messed up. I don't understand. That's gonna set a bad precedent for all social media platforms, not just TikTok. So anyway, yeah, if you have positive stories about social media, please share it, especially TikTok. Be happy to know about it. Congress definitely needs to know. Just like how immigration reform, I encourage y'all to call your congressperson about how you care about immigration reform. I think you should do the same thing about how you care about social media, especially if it helped your own business or for you personally. Uh, Give them a call, send them an inquiry, an email. They need to know about it. Marlon, you have a question? Back to immigration. Sorry about that. Marlon, you said, Sir John, how does the embassy know if a child is a true relative? For example, a father and a child. Do they only use a name on the birth certificate as the only reference? I'm kind of guessing what you really mean by this. If there is something called, like, if the birth certificate doesn't have the same last name, technically it should be fine as long as your name is on the birth certificate as the father. Okay. Um, but there's other secondary evidence of, even if you your don't have your name on the birth certificate, at least in Texas, the state of Texas in America, in most states, call it acknowledgement of paternity, and that's what a father would sign at the birth of a child, on that day. Okay, but and you could always sign it after the fact, at least in America. So I don't know how it works in different countries, but hopefully that helps. You might need to call in if you have a question about that. Do they compare DNA or blood type? Um, I think you probably mean more like DNA. I believe they accept it. I've heard of them accepting it. So that'd be a worst case scenario if you don't have like actual physical, or I guess DNA is technically physical evidence, but paper evidence. If you don't have that, then yeah, you might need to try to get a DNA test. But check in with the consular embassy to see, or Department of State page about that, to see if like when, like if you get it too early, maybe it makes a difference in if they accept the evidence or not, the DNA test, I mean. So check in with them, okay? And that'd be considered, well, that's really primary evidence on point. But immigration, they call it secondary evidence. Oh, you're just wondering? So maybe it's not just about you. But yeah, that is a good question. Some people do ask that kind of question. So all right, folks, I gotta get to my meeting with my team. I will talk to y'all soon. You all have a wonderful day. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.